Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Resilient Living Podcast. On our second try, it looks like we're actually live. We had some issues on the first
Technical
try.
difficulties.
I'm Ryan Steve. I'm here with my co host, Jared Wilson.
Hey,
We're going to be talking about hot takes, so like controversial understandings of the world, but specifically related to preparedness and homesteading. So hopefully, we'll ruffle some feathers, and
right?
we'd love to hear your hot takes as well. Leave them in the comments if we can. We'll get to them and bring them up and talk about them.
Yeah.
So, Jared, did you have anything specific like you wanted to say before we just dive right into some of these?
Nah, let's just go for it.
Okay.
Go for the jugular.
So how'd you come up with this idea? Obviously, we do a different topic every week, and I assume
I know,
this
right?
came up somehow.
So, well, it was kind of sort of based off of some of the clips that I've been posting up on social media. The ones that were a little bit more contentious did really well. I was like, that there's something to be said for that. They having these hot takes and having these more, controversial opinions. I was like, what, there's something to, and I was going back through all of our clips. I was like, we actually have some more controversial opinions on some of this stuff. So that's where it came from.
Okay. So what were some, like, maybe give me two of the clips that came up that people were really bothered
Bees,
by or found interesting?
bees, hand down. Adam. Okay. Yeah. If you guys haven't watched the interview with Adam Martin, go back and watch it. Be kept on Instagram or being kept on Instagram or bekept.com. Go check out Adam's stuff. He's amazing. But oh my goodness, the comment section was unhinged. It was wild.
Yeah.
That was such a contentious topic.
Now, to remind people what he said, I believe it was something along the lines of, I don't go into my hives all the time. I don't
Right.
treat for veromite,
Right.
and I only catch my own wild feral bees. Is that
And he
about
doesn't feed them any fake sugars.
or
And
sugars
yeah,
at all?
your sugars at all. Yeah, exactly. He's like, I give them, I don't know, their own honey. And yeah, I think one of those clips on Instagram is pushing 64,000 views right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people on there like, that guy clearly doesn't know what he's talking about with bees.
Right. And then there's a whole bunch of people going, thank you for, standing up for us, that we believe this and we've had success with this. And oh yeah, the comments was hysterical.
Yeah, I think with beekeeping, there's such a, well, we've talked about this before, the gatekeeping aspect of things. It's, you've got your bee club and they do it this way, and this is how you do it. And you get a bee mentor, which is a good thing, but like, it's about perpetuating the same old way of doing it.
Yep. Exactly.
And
It's like, well, this is the way we've always done it.
Yeah. It's the way you can, transport bees to pollinate the, what is it? The nut fields in California or whatever.
Right.
So,
Right.
almond. There we go. So yeah, it's like you're not going to raise your bees in your backyard, or you shouldn't be, probably the same way that somebody who's a commercial honey beekeeper or a commercial pollinator beekeeper is going to raise
exactly. And we can apply that same logic to gardening. We can apply that same logic to a lot of aspects, you're not doing this on a commercial scale. So you don't need to emulate row cropping, because you don't have the machinery that requires them to be spaced that way to clear the wheels of the rig. You're walking through your own garden. Your spatial, requirements are totally different.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
So.
exactly. All right. So, did you have any other videos that anybody was like reacting poorly to, or you had a lot of mixed reviews?
Those ones, like, there's like 4 of those that were really high on that list. I think those were my, of my top 5, they are 4 of the 5, I think.
Okay, cool.
But yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you this one straight off the bat.
Yeah.
You put in the notes, technology isn't the enemy, dependency is.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So coming from, technical background, I don't see technology as the problem. It's becoming reliant upon that. It's being reliant on the infrastructure, being reliant on all those systems, that really I see as being the problem. versus the technology itself.
Yeah. I have an analogy for this.
Cool. I like it. Go.
Right. So, and this kind of merges into the AI, but generally the internet age where we can go and look things up.
Okay.
And so think of like somebody, the most incompetent driver and technically incapable person you know, and imagine handing them the keys to a tractor and saying, go for it.
Oh,
Right. Because a tractor is a force multiplier.
yes.
And
yes.
if somebody who knows what they're doing is using it carefully and appropriately, they can get maybe 100 times the amount of work they would get done with a wheelbarrow and a shovel,
Sure.
or, you know, a push mower or whatever it is. Like I can bush hog a field that would take me weeks to push mow,
right,
in a matter of a few hours. But
yes.
you give that tractor and the keys to it to a person who knows how to start a car, knows that pedals do something and that shifty lever does something, and they may end up driving it through a house.
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
you're taking this thing that has incredible leverage, you know, and you're using it however you know best. And if what I think happens with technology, especially AI and search engines and internet and all that, is you end up with people who either use it to enhance their abilities and to as a leverage essentially for what they already know and can do.
Yes.
And those who end up using it to either get themselves stuck in their own opinion, yes, or to just like basically stop having to think. You can go on AI and have,
I was going to say, to compensate for a lack of ability.
Yeah.
I saw that a lot in motorcycles. Guys who didn't have the ability, they would just get a bigger bike because they could roll the throttle.
Sure.
Couldn't ride worth a darn, but boy, they could just roll that throttle.
Yep. Yeah. And there's so many ways you can put this. I mean, if I give one person a pile of boards and building materials and some nails and a nail gun,
right?
You know, one person's going to go and build me something amazing that I didn't even expect. And another person's going to be in the ER with the nail through. Yes. So technology is a powerful tool. And if you use it wrong, you'll just atrophy your brain and think more stupid things and get stuck in your echo chamber.
Quite likely and quite potentially. Yes.
All right. We got a comment here from Pack Rabbit. I know who that is. I don't know if I want to out him. I think any new house built on rural land should be Little House on the Prairie compatible. That is a basic water, cooling, heating, cooking should be impervious to power and EMP situations. That is a hot take.
That is a hot take. That's an interesting one.
I like it. I just don't know how you, the enforcement mechanism is the issue.
Well, let's assume that you could enforce that. Would that be functional, practical in an urban setting?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, like there's always going to be urban centers. Even in Little House on the Prairie, there were urban centers. They lived in town for a while. Wasn't a good experience, but they did. They didn't have the same requirements. I'm just trying to think through this. Is it justifiable to regulate and say that they must when they don't necessarily need? All right. Okay. That's an interesting one.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because when you think of the urban centers, in all reality, the urban centers have to export the only export they have is garbage.
Yes. They import exclusively everything.
Yeah. Human waste and like physical trash. Right. And that's basically it. And so everything else is imported from the rural areas.
Yes.
I don't see, my issue is enforcement.
Sure. I get that.
And I've run into, because of some things that I've had to deal with it, I've run into what zoning laws are actually for. And most of the time it's to give power to the people who are running boards or who have control behind this system to say no when they want to say no and ignore them when they want to ignore them.
Sure. I get
And
that. Yeah.
and so instead of reducing development, actually the zoning laws actually increase development and destruction of rural properties
That's no bueno.
in basically every case.
Right.
All right. Okay. Another hot take you put on here is chickens are overrated for beginners.
Okay. So I mean, like,
Explain yourself, sir.
every homesteader's like grabbing their pitchfork and coming for me. Rabbits are better.
I don't know. The pitchfork people and the torch people might be talking to each other right now.
Ducks are better.
Jared.
Okay. I mean, like, okay. How hot is the manure from a chicken versus a rabbit?
Quite, unless you combine it with carbon.
Unless you actually do something with it. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so straight out the gate, manure, done. Okay. Food consumption. The number, and I think Vic even put it into the comments on the Facebook, was the number of pounds required per pound of meat produced for rabbits is lower than that for chickens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the physical cages that rabbits can comfortably be in, not talking like, you know, squishing them in, is very small. Chickens require some space. They need to be able to move around. So I'm saying chickens aren't.
I like it. So that, I guess, would depend on meat. If you're talking meat production,
I was talking meat production, but
right?
yes, yeah,
yeah. So literally right now, I'm looking out the window at a like 5-day-old Muscovy chick who's walking around eating stuff.
Heck yeah.
And its mother wandering around with 8 other duckling, I should say.
Right.
So yeah, they can be, and they have amazing meat, and they're not terrible egg layers. But they come with their caveats, right?
Oh yeah. Everything does.
I really like I wouldn't recommend people start with this, but a combination of ducks and chickens, you get your ratios right, and the chickens will keep the duck stuff turned up, so it doesn't get all matted down in anaerobic. But yeah, you're right. Rabbits, if you can get over the cute factor and actually kill them and make them into dinner, are for the feed per meat ratio is phenomenal.
Yeah, especially if you're getting Californians, New Zealand's. Don't go with what are those giant ones? The whatever they're called. They're ridiculously massive, but they've got so much of that is bones. Mm-hmm. It's like you're not actually getting that much meat.
No.
So
yeah, and there's some crosses that are really good too. But
yes, I really want to do the American chinchilla rabbit, because they've got the same coloring as a chinchilla, a very similar fur and pelt to a Rex, but a decent amount of meat and a fairly quick grow out. Not obviously as fast as as a California or New Zealand, but a pretty fast grow out.
Nice. Yeah, the other thing about rabbits is if you get a scythe and have a little bit of space and start planting things like, clover and appropriate grasses and like now you can, at least through the spring, summer, fall, provide your
own,
their entire I'd keep them on a little bit of pellets because they're going to need something like that over the winter. Yep. So their stomachs aren't bothered too much.
Yeah, you say you don't want to transition them hard. So yeah.
Right. All right. Goats aren't perfect homestead animals for most people.
Goats they're mischievous.
Yeah.
They get into everything. They get out of everything. Goats are a pain. I've been friends with enough people who had goats to realize I don't want goats.
Yep. Yeah. Goats require a certain knowledge, infrastructure, and an intention. So if you don't have a specific, realistic intention for your goats, you should not be getting goats.
They will run amok. Yeah, they will run everything. Yeah. I'll give them this. Like, you look them in the eyes versus like a hair sheep. There's more thought behind those eyes. But that being said, there's more thought behind those eyes. They will figure out things. They will They will torment you.
Demons have more thought than sheeps too. You just
Right. TikTok says goats look evil. Lol. Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, so I had a few that I'm going to throw at you, or I'm going
Yeah.
to read off. We got if chickens, pigs, and other animals smell bad, you're doing it wrong.
I liked that one. I saw that.
So,
that was good.
I thought the alternative name for this live stream could be "You're doing it wrong."
You're doing it wrong. that would be apropos as well.
But yeah, basically the truth is that if you've got consolidate, or if you've got smells, you've got a consolidation of waste that should be a beneficial byproduct, and instead it's a waste product,
a liability.
So,
yep.
Yeah. So basically, you just need to figure out how to bind that nitrogen with carbon in most cases. So
right.
My favorite is wood chips. One way Joel Salatin does this for his cattle, because they'll bring the cattle in for hay feeding in a barn, and they'll get these deep piles of hay, which will get kind of anaerobic over time. So as those are building, he'll throw corn in so it'll ferment, and then they bring pigs in once the cattle are gone.
Interesting.
Pigs will turn that over, get that. Basically, it becomes a giant compost pile.
Right. They'll root for them. Yeah.
Yep. But it becomes aerobic because the pigs have turned it up, and they've happily done that to find some food.
Sure. Nice. Well, it's like, running chickens behind your cattle in pasture. Like, if you give them a couple days, then they're going to go rip apart all of the cow feces to try and find all the critters that are growing, love and life in there, spreading it out and making it break down faster. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, so the other reason I joke about thinking this podcast should have been called "You're Doing It Wrong" is that a lot of times why people end up saying you can't do this or you can't do that or it won't work is specifically because they don't understand some of the nuances to it.
Sure. Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things where I'll tell somebody you can do that, and they're like, "No, I can't. I tried it." I'm like, well, let's talk through what that looked like and talk about maybe where a couple of tweaks could be made that would make the difference.
Right. Yep.
So
yeah.
When you mentioned
it could be your location, it could be, climate, whatever. There's a lot of reasons and caveats for.
Yeah, it depends, right? There's so many and little adjustments you might need to make. And a good case for that is, or way to understand that is, Joel Salatin raises, it's like thousands of chickens that get run behind his cattle. And a lot of people think, well, I can run 10 egg layers behind my cattle.
Oh,
so, no, you can't. And
scale is an important thing.
The reason is, if you do that, they'll get picked off by predators almost immediately. When you're dealing with scale, one, an occasional hawk attack is meaningless. And two, the hawks are confused, just like zebra with lions, how the herd becomes the thing that confuses and makes it hard for them to pick who or what to go after. 1,000, 2,000 laying hens out on pasture is actually really confusing for the hawk because they're not.
Oh yeah. It's like zebras.
Yeah. So that's, everything, it depends. And so if you're trying something, you may need to modify it, or you might need to give it up. Sometimes that's the best option as well.
Yes. Sometimes you need to give up. We did a podcast on that.
Yeah. Be a quitter. Yeah. If you want to look that one up, it's Be a Quitter. So
that one was also a contentious one. There were some definite, people who disagree with us.
Well, we're told don't be a quitter, right?
Exactly. They're like, that's a bad thing to be telling people to not quit. Like, sometimes you should quit.
Yeah. When you're doing something stupid that hasn't been properly measured, quit.
Right. Or sometimes it's just not the right time, or
yeah. I mean, I think I told my story on that we have no rabbits anymore. And that's because, I'm not around enough to take care of them super regularly, and my kids weren't doing a great job, and it just wasn't and we weren't using them for meat. We were just using them for fertilizer. So it became no longer a good option. And so we gave them up. Sure. Now we're raising ducks out in their spaces as a brooder. So we repurposed it. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. You put preparedness starts with fitness, not gear.
Yes. I stand
Tell
by
me
it.
more.
There is entirely too many people who want to. This kind of goes back to the same idea with getting a bigger bike and just being able to twist the throttle. You just get this stuff. I've got whatever tool I need or whatever. Now I'm good. Fitness and health are a higher priority in preparedness than equipment. You're not
I
going
would,
to need the calories. You're not going to have the health issues. You're going to have higher endurance. And when we had Elliot on both times, we really, kind of harped on it, but for good reason.
yeah. Well, I think the kind of other side of that is knowledge as well.
Yeah.
And of course, you can get trapped in the, analysis paralysis and try to get all the knowledge before you get started. But
Yeah, don't do that.
no, but trying things out, right? If you've got a 40-pound ruck pack and you're going to, you think it's your bug out bag and you've never tried it on or gone hiking with it,
Right.
you need to do that. I mean, I know I can carry 40, actually a lot more pounds around because
Oh,
I've done that with my kids, every single
yeah.
kid since they were little until they're basically big enough to keep up. They're in a backpack
Mm-hmm.
on me. So, I know that I'm okay with that, but a lot of people are never trying it out. They have no idea whether the pack fits them right. They don't know how to cinch it against their back properly. Yeah, there's a lot of considerations there.
Yep. Well, that was another one I had was most bug out bags won't ever leave their closet. And I can personally attest, having driven out in the midst of a fire, all of my bug out stuff, including my lifted 94 Yoda, I can drive this through anything vehicle, all burnt. What got out was me in my very nice dress clothes with my leather shoes and my leather belt and my vest in my little Volvo convertible.
Right.
All the prepper stuff, all the guns and ammo, all it burnt.
So that reminds me of one of mine that I put on for the list was whatever you're most worried about or prepared for is probably not what you will most likely have to deal with.
Agreed. There's entirely too many Hollywood based, scenario based preparedness motifs, or I don't know what you would call it, that people will hyperfixate on. It's like, oh, I've got to be prepared for this niche specific. No, just learn how to live resiliently, and you'll be okay. You'll get through it.
Yeah.
Have a good community that also learn to live resiliently and to depend upon one another, and keep God in the center of all of it, and you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I'd say listen, pray and listen. Like you'll figure out, I think, what is most important and start there and do small steps. Like learn how to use things. Go to one of your training classes on first aid or
Yeah, I'll say a lot of my hot takes are based off of that, of learn to do stuff, don't just collect stuff.
yeah. And use the stuff you've gotten and replenish rather than just letting it sit
Yes.
there.
Yes.
I know for myself, a lot of times, like I'll use plumbing parts as an example. I've got some of the weirdest plumbing parts, and if you had something you need plumbed, there's a good chance I've got the right plumbing part, but can I find it?
Oh, sure.
Right. So what ends up happening is I'm out on jobs, and of course, when you're plumbing, you have to buy a bit extra. And is it worth going back to Ace Hardware that's 20 minutes out of the way for $5? And generally, no. So
Right.
I end up with all this extra plumbing stuff on various, spring capture projects or whatever.
Oh yeah, sure.
And which sounds great because you would think, oh, I can take that to the next client's house and use it. And a lot of times I can if I can find it.
Yes.
And what happens is once you get so much stuff piled on top, then the stuff that you had underneath, you just have to buy it again. And then you get more piled on
more
top.
and more of it. Right.
Yeah. So you have to be careful not to pull in too many things. But yeah, I think when we try to prepare, there's this idea of we see something that we get ourselves wrapped around the axle about. And oftentimes, if we keep the Pareto principle in mind that we've talked about before, that 80-20 rule, where for 20% of the effort, I can get 80% of the benefit. And that might be as far as I want to go on that thing because it's not my specific area. Now, your specific area, you might get the rest of the 99%,
Sure.
because that's kind of your place in the community. But for most things, if you've done 20% of the effort and gotten 80% of the information for first aid, you're doing really well.
You're doing great.
Or for communications, you're doing really well. Right. Yep. And so we don't need to go so far out because of the one thing we're afraid, it's an EMP. So I'm going to make sure that I've prepared myself for an EMP with, a cave full of food or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Is, right?
All my electronics are, grounded and shunted or Faraday bags or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not thinking of the fact that every single one of those needs the internet to give you any information whatsoever. Right. Or needs a GPS, which, all the GPS satellites are going to be knocked out if there's a
coronal mass ejection or something. Yeah.
So I think oftentimes we don't think all the way through, and we prepare for one scenario rather than a broad spectrum, and in such a way that we just live a better life in general.
Well, right. Yeah. When we have the pursuit of the good thing in front of us versus running away from the bad thing behind us, when we're pursuing living a holistically good life and growing our own food and our animals and just, doing that, it naturally takes care of the stuff that we're running from.
Right.
Just by pursuing the good thing that we're running towards.
Yep. Yeah. So for example, planting a small garden, getting started, learning how to grow your annual vegetables.
Right.
And then once you've kind of figured that out a bit, now start some seed starts and seed saving, right?
That's a trick in itself. I suck at saving seeds and getting them to be able to germinate.
Yeah. Well, it is not that bad, not that hard, but you need to know a few different techniques.
Yeah. And depends on which type, like, the way you treat tomatoes is very different than peppers versus, all of them. Yeah.
Exactly. And what people do instead is they go, oh, Bill Gates is stealing all the, the heirloom seeds and they're going to ban them and I should get a seed bank.
Yeah.
Seed vaults or whatever they call them. It's like, well, do you know how to grow those things? Is the seed vault appropriate for your area? Are they land races for, Tennessee or, for your given soil? Probably not. But if you saved them for a few years and you learned how to grow them and save them, you're a lot better off.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will start, if you think that a seed bank is going to help you in any way whatsoever and you don't already have a garden going, you're wildly mistaken.
Yep.
So what's your next hot take, Jared?
Start it now. So we kind of already hit on the skills outperform supplies every time. So that was going to be my next one, but we kind of already hit that one. Neighbors. Your neighbors are more important than your gear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can have all the gear you want, but if your neighbors aren't your friends, you're going to have problems. You can have not enough gear, but if you have a good relationship with your neighbors, that's okay. Because 10 to 1, they probably have the gear that you don't.
Yeah.
Especially in Middle Tennessee.
Well, that's where each of us specializing in something and then having a community is so important.
Yep.
And neighbors should be part of your community. You should get to know your neighbors.
Absolutely.
Right? We just had 4 houses built illegally next door to us.
Details.
And some of my neighbors were like, basically had this attitude of current neighbors who saw this happening were like, oh, well, we should essentially shun them. And I'm like, hold on.
Yeah.
They don't know anything about this. Right. Yeah. So let's build a community. And if at some point, they want to be a part of pushing back on some of this illegal stuff, if they learn that we're decent people and we're not nut jobs who are wrong about what we're asserting, maybe they'd be interested in being on our side about that, or
Sure.
anything else for that matter, because it's not gonna help to not, not be good neighbors to the people who had nothing to do with it. And
Sure.
I think it's so easy for us to find some reason, that neighbor does this and they leave their porch light on and I can't stand it and I can't see the stars, and so I'm not going to talk to them.
Right.
Right. Where if you had a good relationship with them down the road, you might be able to go, hey, we really love seeing the stars. Is there any way we could help you buy or install a motion light so it's not always
Oh,
on?
yeah. Right.
Or whatever it is, right? So that good relationship with your neighbors is really important.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to pull this up here quick. Pack Rat this was his response when we were talking about if it smells, you're doing it wrong. And he's just saying that that's one of Salatin's guardrails. And that makes sense. It would be, because he talks a lot about, he calls it a carbonaceous diaper, where all the poop should go on something that is high carbon, because it will be absorbed and neutralized quickly.
Sure.
So, here's a hot take that people won't like probably. First flush systems. So this is for rainwater capture.
Yes.
The first flush systems that everybody thinks are amazing are pretty much useless in most of the United States.
Really? Do tell.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So think of, hopefully people understand what they are, but basically the idea is you've got a pipe below your water catchment for your roof water, and that pipe fills up first before and flushes water out. So when you've got, let's say, bird poop and leaves and debris and things, they'll go down into that pipe. The pipe will then fill up, and there's a ball essentially that hits the top. And so now once that ball hits the top, the water can run over and into your catchment system, your rain barrels, your tanks, whatever.
Sure.
The issue here is that the way that tube drains out is a small, essentially pinhole. It's a little bigger, but it's a small hole at the bottom of the tube. Well, that tube is supposed to collect debris, and so that hole tends to
plug up.
Yeah. And if you're anywhere that freezes, if that hole clogs and then it freezes, then your entire system freezes and is self-destructive, right? Now, if you've disabled your first flush system when, between your freeze dates, then it's fine. It'll work. But then you're also dumping water on the ground, from your first flush pipe, unless you have some other means of moving it elsewhere.
Right.
So a first flush system was actually built or designed for subtropic and tropical regions where you don't have freezes. So that's my hot take on first flush. I can't stand them. They're too much maintenance, and they do not work well in zones that freeze.
Right.
So, and there are good alternatives. Like the Manjalan Smart Filter is what I generally recommend instead.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yep. What's your next hot take?
Practice should be uncomfortable. If you're practicing and it's comfortable, you're not pushing yourself nearly hard enough. And that can apply to anything, whether it's playing a guitar or physical fitness or homesteading or whatever it is. If you really want to get better at something, you have to push yourself. If you're pushing yourself, it shouldn't be comfortable.
Yeah. No, I don't know if that's even a hot take. That's that's just the rules. That's
it shouldn't be.
Right. No, like walking is good, right?
Right.
So if you're not used to walking,
yeah,
go for a walk every day. But at some point, your body's going to go, you know what? This isn't all that hard. And you kind of plateau. You're not going to really do better. And so pushing yourself a bit further, maybe you're going to start jogging. Maybe you walk further. Maybe you ride a bike. Maybe you start doing pull-ups. I don't know. Stretch what you're able to do and get better at it. Otherwise, you just kind of stagnate.
Yes.
All right. You got any others, or did you want to talk on that one anymore?
Nope. That was basically it. No, the next one I want to, debt is one of the biggest preparedness risks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Being fiscally and my friend who's going to come on and talk about fiscal preparedness. She's got life stuff going on still, so we'll give her grace. But when she does come on, that's basically it. It's like, if you're not financially prepared, then everything else is that you are spending money on, you shouldn't be. You really need to prioritize financial preparedness first and
Yeah.
foremost, and everything else is an outpouring from that.
Yeah. Well, let's say you've got like half your mortgage left, right? And you're preparing for things, and maybe you take out a loan to get some extra food storage or put
Sure.
I don't know, storm shelter in or something like that. But you don't have enough reserve to pay your mortgage for a while.
Yep.
Well, banks don't really care
Nope.
if there's a
They
big ice
sure don't.
storm or the whatever else, right? They're like, well, thank you for paying half your mortgage and then giving your house to us. So, yeah, being in debt, it means that you're leveraged, that somebody has leverage on you
Exactly.
towards something. A lot of people I've seen assume, the economy is going to crash, inflation's going to go through the roof.
Yeah.
So if I take out debt now, it'll be worth almost nothing later.
Right.
Not realizing that they might struggle to make it through that interim time, even if it does go the way they think it's going to go.
Sure.
And that debt can sink them. So yeah, I'm on board with that one.
Hey, Vic. Welcome, Med.
Oh man, we're glad you're here.
Hauling water does suck, dude. I feel for you.
Let's see. I'm gonna pull up one of my others and see.
Yeah.
See what else I wrote. Actually, I think food forests. So I had food forests are generally not the most productive or best choice for most properties and situations.
I mean, yeah. Would you put the caveat of the planning for future generations? Are you exclusively talking about like you here and now, or are you thinking future dates?
I'm thinking future generations. So
okay,
here's my take on food forests. The vast majority of time that people are thinking of a food forest, I do my best to talk them out of it.
Okay.
And that's not to say not that we don't do something similar to a food forest, but the problem with a food forest is it's extremely labor intensive and cost intensive upfront. You're buying all kinds of native plants that can be hard to get a hold of, hard to propagate.
Sure.
They might not last well without really careful care for the first 5 years. The layout is really difficult to figure out. Management and maintenance is through the roof. And a lot of those things are going to success anyway. So they're going to die off just depending on what success is at what different times and how you plan it. Sure. And because of how you lay out a food forest, you can't really bring a mower through or, some other simple mechanical system that we're used to using. You have to maintain it essentially entirely by hand. You can't bring sheep through because it's this diverse planting. And it isn't anywhere near as productive as if you do something like a permaculture type orchard that is still in rows, but it can be on swales. So it's on contour and has a fun feel and look, collects and stores water, does all kinds of things that a food forest in and of itself isn't going to do anyways, but it'll be much more productive, much more quickly. If you plant it out right and you do it right, it'll be productive much longer. And then adding the animals in actually just blows the productivity out of the water. And so a food forest can be really cool, but the upfront cost money just doesn't seem like it's worth it for the long-term benefit, because you can get that same long-term benefit for a lot less upfront cost, but also have all the animal production that becomes much harder to do in a food forest.
Right. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Along those lines, one of the ones I had, animal infrastructure is more important than the animals themselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it, right? Because the animals are the most important thing as far as what you want end product.
Sure.
But you won't have the animals in a meaningful way if you don't have the infrastructure set
Right.
up properly.
Oh yeah, and or you're going to have to manhandle everything to get it in wherever you need it to be. Keeping it there is going to be a pain. Like having all of that infrastructure is the support infrastructure is so incredibly important just to alleviating chaos during your day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the simple concept of water lines across your pasture.
Right.
Now, I will say that there are people who have found that they can rent property that doesn't have water on it and truck it in
Yeah.
on, with their own vehicle. So like a
Sure.
trailer and a couple IBC totes or whatever.
IBCs. Yeah. Right.
That saves them so much that they're profitable as compared to not profitable.
Sure.
But you have to have that structure. So you have to have a way to get water there other than, 5-gallon buckets that you carry out or, the
miserable
hose that you unspool or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Vic says we didn't get chickens until the log cabin coop was done. 8 months. Yeah, exactly. Because you don't know how long it's going to take you to make, right? I bet you weren't expecting 8 months, Vic.
Yup.
So, lone wolf preparedness is mostly a fantasy.
It sure is. That goes back to that Hollywood thing of like, oh, I'll fill my basement filled with, all of my freeze dried foods and I'll have all my guns and to what? To what's the end goal there? Like, okay, so the zombie apocalypse comes through, wipes out everybody else. Now you're just alone on Earth. Like, is that really your goal?
You made it, and now you get to be.
Good job.
Yeah.
Get a gold
if anything,
star.
You're now like part of the Hunger Games with the elite coming out of their bunkers.
Yeah. I'm like, no, be a part of a community and take care of your family and friends and keep, people going, keep society going.
All right. We kind of hit on this one, but most people prepare for disaster while ignoring everyday health.
Yep. It's like the more I dig into, because I've been on I've struggled with my health my whole life. I've fluctuated probably over 100 pounds stem to stern multiple times. So I've been on both sides of the equation, from being emaciated to being very overweight. And the degree to which I don't feel like doing anything when I'm overweight, and the degree to which I'm like, hey, yeah, let's go for a jog or whatever when I'm fit. It's amazing. Like, it's almost incomprehensible. Like when I'm overweight, I wouldn't even fathom just getting up and going running or going and doing something or going and working in the farm, whatever. It's really important. Like, it's really, really important. Physical preparedness and physical fitness and quality food, sleep. There was another one I threw in there about sleep. People don't understand or appreciate how important sleep is as a preparedness item.
All right, I'm going to make one up on the fly because you mentioned health, and that's a big one for me.
Yes.
You should not expect to survive. Like, salads are not the healthiest way to live. Eating all salads. Like, that's not a way to be healthy. It's not
enough calories. Just calories alone.
Right. And actually, so I think people can stay thin because they're depriving themselves of calories.
Yes.
But the most nutrient dense thing you can eat is always going to be an animal protein.
Yep.
Yeah. And within that, generally things like red meat, shellfish, those are going to be your absolute top nutrient density, bioavailable things that you can possibly eat. However, if you've been on a vegetarian or vegan diet, your body has to get back into the ability to process animal proteins and fats.
Right.
So things like ox bile are really important. But my point being, a lot of people think that the way you lose weight is eating salads, reducing fat,
Mm.
and it's almost the exact opposite.
Right. We're going to prioritize proteins and good fats.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yep. Stop worrying about cholesterol in your food.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. You need cholesterol. Your body will make cholesterol if you don't have enough, which is why cholesterol in your blood is a good check engine light, because it's telling you your body, it's an anti-inflammatory. It's telling you your body is too inflamed. It's not
right
cholesterol that's doing the damage. It's the inflammation, and the cholesterol is a warning sign. So anyways, those are my hot takes. Yeah. Cholesterol is a check engine light, not the problem itself. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, another hot take. Taking statins is basically the same as seeing your oil light come on and fixing it by putting some electrical tape over it and then draining your oil pan.
But that works, right? I mean, it takes care of the problem.
So
I don't see it anymore.
that is my hot take, not a professional opinion.
Right.
Or whatever. I'm not a doctor. I'll put it that way. You got any others you want to highlight here?
Oh goodness. We really, the skills outperform supplies, and he was my thing jumped back up to the top, so I'm going back down through the list.
Yeah, I like this one that you put in for the skills section. You said, if you never fail at a skill, you probably haven't pushed yourself.
Yeah.
And I'd add to that, failing is a good thing.
It absolutely is. What better teacher is there than failure? Like even watching someone else's success, that doesn't teach you how they got there. You have to fail your way up. You have to, it's silly to think otherwise.
Well, and you can have other people, make the mistakes for you, but at some point you have to make certain mistakes for it to get ingrained in your brain.
Mm-hmm. But even still, you're still learning from the mistakes themselves, whether they're yours or not. Yes, you're absolutely going to learn better from your own. You have a vested interest in that one.
Right. I've got another hot take where I know we disagree a little bit.
Yay. Okay.
Okay. So it's kind of homesteading relating or preparedness related because, here it is. My hot take is that what we call autism is not really what autism is.
Okay.
So my thought is that autism was a really specific thing, had a very specific diagnosis, and that it wasn't, maybe there was some spectrum, but it was a pretty severe thing.
Right.
And we've kind of gone from, when I was a kid, what would be called autism to what is now called autism, which is basically you're an interesting person who has interesting thoughts, and now you're autistic. Right? You don't follow the bell curve. You fall somewhere outside of the bell curve, and it doesn't matter what that bell curve is, whether it's intelligence or interest in sports or whatever it is, right? You fall outside of the bell curve, and now you're autistic. And I don't like it.
That's funny. Okay, so I mean, we can look at it from the DSM's perspective, but generally speaking, we're evaluating this because there are physiological differences, and we can see this in PET scans and contrast MRIs, that we have clusters in our brains that are more developed than other areas in a neurotypical brain. So and maybe we don't call it autism, and that's why they call it the autism spectrum disorder, was because to a lesser degree, they still have these clusters. They still have these, hyperconnective areas. So, and that does result in hyperfixations and, those specific hobbies that they just deep dive into and whatever. Right. For me, it's not about the label. It's understanding how my brain works, but more importantly, that I understand better that other people don't think the same way. And that's really helped me to be able to communicate more effectively, because I understand my brain makes connections that they don't see. And so I kind of have to walk them through where my brain went. Because I used to get very frustrated with having conversations with people because their brains didn't move fast enough. And I already knew where they were going with the whole conversation before they even realized where we were going with the conversation. And just, I got real angry a lot. And so
you want to front
understanding,
run the confusion.
yeah.
Right?
So understanding that I think differently has been really helpful. So whether we call it autism or not, it has been very beneficial to me to understand that.
Well, you're being overly generous. I was hoping you'd like get angry at me or something, and we get more listeners and viewers because they'd be tuning into the train wreck. So here's where I agree. I think that some type of definition or verbiage that helps somebody understand where someone else might be different or outside of that, bell curve of the 90%.
Yeah.
And to me, that just makes a really interesting person because they've learned something that I can glean from, and they might have thoughts and ideas that are different. And I hate the term because to me, it's not what it's like. We've redefined, and now everybody's autistic. And instead of working hard to bridge some of those gaps where you might think differently, now it's, well, I don't have to. And it also becomes a bit of an excuse. And it's like,
and I disagree
tractor, right?
highly with people who will use it as an excuse to get away with just being different, just to be different. Like, no, dude, you still have to function in society. Like, no, and I understand there are definitely people who, and I think this is to your point, there are people who cannot cognitively make those adjustments to be able to function within society well. And that would be the more extreme versions of autism that were a truer form, I guess, to your point, of autism.
Yeah. And I think part of my frustration is that I've known people who are truly autistic, really very much on the definition of autistic. And it kind of bothers me because I feel like the things that they have to deal with are minimized because you've got every kid who, has some weird interest now thinks they're autistic and gets to go to a special needs class or something. So anyways, so let's see if we get people mad on that one.
Sir, I am definitely a nerd. I'm not a geek. I will hold that line. I am fully a nerd. I am not a geek.
How do you define the difference? Because I've heard very different definitions.
I see nerds as being, or geeks as being less socially functional.
Okay.
And nerds as being the more socially adept.
Got it. So I always heard it explained as geeks were like nerds, but that had some type of beneficial hobby.
Beneficial hobby. That's funny.
Like, I can work on computers. I might be socially inept, but or whatever, whatever the specific thing is. I'm really good at building HO scaled train sets.
Right.
But so that was always my understanding, but I think everybody comes up with their own as reality.
Nice. Yes. Oh, fixes geeks obsess. All right.
Nice. Yeah. And failing his learning was one of the other things he mentioned. And that's absolutely true. You have to fail to learn. And if you're used to being the 4.0 grade point average, and you've never failed, like you've always gotten the perfect score, you're in for a rude awakening when you actually start to go get in the workforce.
I was like, if you've got a 4.0, find a better school, push yourself, go to college. I don't care. Do something more advanced because obviously you're not being pushed.
Well, the other thing I hear people say, oh, they're so smart, they have a 4.0. And I'm like, that sounds like compliance to me.
Well, I mean, there are people who are just genuinely, gifted and
Mhm.
they can regurgitate information. Yes, that doesn't make them functional or useful. Going through the BMET school, there were technicians that came out and went and took the certification test that were absolutely useless, and they aced that test. They
Mhm.
were useless, but they could ace that test. And then I had technicians who could not pass that test to save their life, and they were phenomenal technicians. So book learning does not prove one way or the other.
No, especially if you're talking troubleshooting, right? Because books
Which
can't teach that.
no, our schoolhouse, they did a phenomenal job because it was a DoD schoolhouse, and they got into ICs, and they would like go in there with and melt the inside of the IC, reinsert it into the circuit board to create a problem. And then you had to go and diagnose it. And you were going there with an O-scope and finding, it's like, oh, we have a open between pins 3 and 4 on IC, number, blah, blah, blah. We had to figure stuff out, and that was the only way that they could really evaluate your ability to troubleshoot.
Right. I'm learning the book learning right now. Yeah.
Caleb, sir, you are wonderful and amazing, and I love you.
Book learning isn't unuseful. It's just
No,
not a full measure of what you need
right.
to know.
It's not the end and of itself,
Yep.
which
All
I
right.
guess is a hot take.
Yeah. So a dog is one of the best security investments you can make.
Oh, that was in the security set. Okay. Caveat. It depends on the dog, because my dog's useless. Wait, that's bad OPSEC. If anyone wants to break into my house, I have an amazing dog. She will bark at everything. I mean, she'll bark at intruders. No, she barks at everything. She's useless, especially if there's thunder. She's hiding in the corner. Yeah. No.
My dog
But no.
got it. The idea that all of the people wearing brown clothes were intruders,
Uh-oh.
brown shorts and such in a brown truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took him a while to break into that.
But a good
That's
dog
not your
will
enemy. No, thank you.
give you, yeah, I know, right? Will give you a heads up of, what's going on better than any, like, okay, so I've got this detector on my driveway, because I got the shop. I want to be able to know that there's somebody pulling into the shop. It works about 30% of the time. The dog, 150% of the time, because about 50% of the time she's barking at nothing, but
Right.
100% of the time she sees whatever's actually there.
That's helpful, right?
It is.
Have you tried YoLink?
YoLink? Yeah, right. I actually should.
They've got a gate sensor or a motion
Nice.
sensor that are great.
Nice.
If people don't know yet, I really like YoLink. I think it's a long distance frequency, can be set up locally, system that does anything, basically any if this then that thing, it can do it. So I'm a big fan.
Heck yeah.
As far as smart things, I really don't like smart stuff, but their stuff is quite good.
Well, their stuff is good because it doesn't rely on, bouncing out to the cloud, having that evaluated, and then coming back. It's all local.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of it is cloud, some of it, but you can program it locally,
right?
And you can do a lot locally as well as isolate it onto a separate network, but that's a different show. Or not even a show because nobody would watch it. It's too nerdy.
Oh, we'll get Kev on here. We'll have fun with
it. What can Brown do for you? Okay, you said a $20 book can be worth more than a $2,000 gadget.
And this is a hard one. There's a bunch of these in here. It's like, I'm really doing my shop a very bad disservice here, because I'm like pushing people like to not buy equipment. Right. Don't buy guns. Don't go get training. Go. Like, this is stupid. But it's true. I'm sorry. If you don't need another gun, you do need to go get medical training. You don't, need to have more money in ammunition than you do in, an IFAC. You don't Like, you need to go out and get training. You need to have all these things. And I'm sorry, what was the question?
A $20 book can be worth more than a $2,000 gadget.
Oh, heck yes. A $20 book. Gosh, I've got so many books that meet that criteria. And they'll teach you how to take care of dental issues, or they'll teach you how to cook stuff, or how to skin critters and preserve their pelts, or to, like, there's so many things that, like, okay, cool. You got that $2,000. I'm trying to think of something that would be $2,000. What's it going to do for you?
Night vision scope.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay, for that specific application, yes, you can see the pig in your field. Cool. There's other ways you can deal with that.
Do you just need to fix your fence?
And probably, or get a good livestock guardian dog.
Yeah. Or a more robust fence charger or something like that.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's things. I mean, I realize, and we've got some bad pigs around here, but there's other ways of dealing with things. But that $20 book, that has got is an incredible resource that will continue to pay for itself over and over and over and over again from generation to generation.
Yep. And you absolutely should have Carla Emery's, what is it? Encyclopedia of Homesteading.
Yeah.
Forget the title exactly, but specifically Carla Emery's, because there's a whole bunch of AI knockoffs.
Yes.
They're
don't
not
do
the
that.
same. It's a small investment, and you are never going to sit down and read it, right? Because you won't retain any of it. But
nope, that's not the purpose.
When you need it, right?
Exactly.
Or there's this one time I was driving down the road, and I'd ironically just picked up a smoker for free from somebody who was in my trailer.
That's funny.
And I see this car on the side of the road. It's 4 ways going, and there's a cop right behind him, and he's clearly pulling out his weapon. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't look. Oh, it's not okay. I look at the grill of the car, and it's dented in. And there's this deer flailing around in the field.
Oh.
And so the cop is about to go dispatch him. So I turn around with my trailer and smoker.
Yes.
And approach the cop. I'm like, I know you got to take care of business, but when you're done, do you mind if I collect the remains? And he's like, nope, this is the worst part of the job, but yeah, do what you need to. And so nice. I took home this deer, and I've never field dressed a deer before.
Okay.
But I had a book on how to field dress animals, how to cut the quarters out. I didn't get to it quite fast enough. So it ended up being dog chew toy quarters, but it's still food for the dog, right?
Yeah.
Instead of, rotty, stinky, smelly stuff on the side of the road.
Yep. Exactly.
So yeah, those books are wildly helpful.
Yep. And yes, Mom, the Encyclopedia of Country Living. That is a perfect example of an amazing resource that everyone should have on their, bookshelf just to have. It's not something you're just going to sit down and read through. It's there when you need it. It's like the Foxfire books.
Yeah. And if somebody wants to make sure to get the right version, would you have that in your store?
I do have that in the store. I do.
So if you don't want to get the wrong AI knockoff, just go to Jared's store.
Exactly.
Rocky Pines, smoked him
right there on the highway.
I wish. I don't know how driving and running a smoker would work at the same time. At least not the one I had. Take a big generator.
Right. Oh goodness.
All right. You got any other controversial or hot takes you want to hit?
Owning a gun without regular practice creates false confidence.
And actually a risk to you, really.
And a risk to everyone around you, too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's entirely too many. So we were having this conversation in the staff meeting at church, and we were talking about people carrying in church. And several people commented in the meeting like, oh, yeah, well, so-and-so he carries. He was got a Purple Heart in Vietnam. Like, okay. When was the last time he shot? Like, actually, when was the last time he actually went out and practiced? I know he's got the idea of being able to do it, and he probably did shoot in Vietnam. I've got guys in the American Legion who have not fired a gun since they were in the service. They're very, very pro Second Amendment, have guns, but haven't shot them since they were in the service 30 years ago.
Right.
Having the equipment does not make you competent with the equipment. And that's in everything, not just in guns. Can you imagine you had a tractor and it just sat there? Mm-hmm. Like, can you run that thing? Oh, I'm sure I could. I did 20 years ago. I'm sure I could still run that thing. It doesn't even fire over anymore, but whatever.
It's not just even like the same tractor you ran 20 years ago.
Right. Well, or it is, and it's completely rusted over and completely useless, like your grandpappy's shotgun that's sitting in the corner.
Right. Yeah. I had just an interesting anecdote. I had a neighbor, and my dog and their dog ran after coyotes one time. So the neighbor was very freaked out and happened to have a service pistol that they never used for their job, but they had a enforcement job where it was like provided to them, but they were never required to practice in any way whatsoever.
Oh no.
And so this person, thinking there's coyotes and my dog, and was freaked out, has their service pistol and is pointing it in all kinds of wild directions, completely unaware of anything. Right. And so just to your point, if you're unpracticed with something, whether it's a tractor or a gun or a, chainsaw or whatever else it is, all these things, you having one does not make you an appropriate user of said item. Experience working with people who know how to use them. Chainsaw is a huge one. Do you know how many people get seriously injured or die from chainsaw injuries?
I'm glad you brought that one up, because that's a perfect analogous, item, because you're right. There's so many people who just, cut their foot off.
Right. And, I maybe at Walmart they card you, but I don't think probably even there, you can just go somewhere and they're not going to check your age to buy a chainsaw, right? Like nobody considers it it's not like spray paint or paintball gun or any of those other things. A knife, or apparently CO2, the canned air stuff. Now they have to check your ID for.
Why? It's a weird one.
Apparently, you can get more high than on a paint can. But
of course.
Don't do it, kids. It's a bad idea. Just in case YouTube is wondering.
Right.
We do not encourage this behavior. But yeah, my point is, I think pretty much anybody can go out and buy a chainsaw with no questions, and they can harm themselves quite badly, especially if they're out somewhere remotely where it's hard to get an ambulance or nobody knows they're there, or whatever else is going on. So lots of tools that are great force multipliers that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Kids, Rocky Pines, kids don't huff that stuff. Yep. True. Man, I think we covered a lot of ground. You had a bunch more.
I did, but I just wanted to give us options.
Yeah. I think this one was kind of interesting to me, and probably there's a lot of people who hate AI. So you put AI can make you more resilient if you use it correctly. Mm-hmm. Do you want to unpack that just a little bit?
AI. Okay. And AI isn't even AI, not really. It's a large language model. So it's predictive text. It has a good way of distilling information in a useful way. And so let's say the books that we were talking about, these massive resources that are cumbersome to find what you're looking for in. If we were to feed that information as a PDF into a large language model, it very easily could spit out very pertinent information very quickly. Mm-hmm. That is a really amazing resource that we can have at our disposal. And we can even do that completely offline. We could do that with a Raspberry Pi or an old laptop or something like that, where it's just a large language model rocking with a PDF of any one of those books or all of those books.
Yeah.
That's a really great resource.
Yep. Yeah. The offline stuff is becoming more and more viable.
Yep.
And there's some new all-in-one boards that are becoming more affordable where you can even some of the old mining, there's these all-in-one mining rigs that you can get
Yeah.
now that actually can run a pretty decent LLM on them.
Makes sense because any of the ASIC based, crypto miners, they're GPU heavy. So yeah, they would run an LLM really well.
Look, we lost all of our viewers. You mentioned ASICs and I just
Yeah.
no, I'm kidding. We didn't. We probably should have, but we didn't. Yeah, I mean, AI is definitely one of these leverage points where you can leverage it to make yourself really stupid and stuck, or you can and atrophy, or you can
Right.
leverage it to better understand something and to actually get somewhere with it.
Well, yeah. So like my wife, she works in HR, and so she's trying to quaff emails that sound good, professional, and so she'll run through AI, and she's been taking in the critiques and the nuance changes and adopting them herself. And now when she's putting things into AI, the revision differences are minimal and or unhelpful. She's like, she's gotten to a place where she has adopted a lot of these nomenclature and has become more competent in her position because she learned.
Yep. I have found there's a couple of things with AI that I would say. One is I've found it to be incredibly useful for troubleshooting and
Okay.
for summarizing information, which
Yes.
you have to be careful. So if you're using like Chat GPT and you tell it, summarize this book or whatever,
Yes.
it's going to take a lot of other people's opinions on that. Whereas
Right.
if you use something like Notebook LM and you upload it, it's going entirely off of the text that you uploaded, and
Yes.
using the large language model as a way to read and understand the information that you gave it,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to take what it knows about that thing already and regurgitate it based on what other people have said. So that's one thing. And then the other is, what is that principle? Gelman amnesia,
Oh, yes.
right?
Yes.
So it's this idea that you can look at something and you can be an expert in it. And you're, let's say, reading through a newspaper or an article, and you go, "Wow, that's total crap." And I know that foreign policy that they're talking about is not for the reason they're saying it is. And you're like,
Right.
who writes this garbage, right? And you flip a couple pages down and you're in the economic side and you're reading about some new stock and you're like, oh wow, that's really cool.
Yes.
Right. And it's the same source, it's the same newspaper.
Right.
And maybe that economics thing is true, but you don't know. And so you're able to you have this amnesia where you're going, well, the source was wrong about the thing I know about, but it seems like they're right about the thing I don't know about. And
Dangerous.
yeah, AI is definitely that way. If you don't know how to sort down and understand what it's doing, why it's doing it, um, you're going to get really bad information.
Right. Well, and
And
that's why, yeah, whenever I'm talking to a newer version, Grok comes out with their new version, ChatGPT comes out with new, I'll ask it questions that I'm very intimately familiar with the answers, just to see like, okay, how is this one working out? Like, what do they actually tweak here? Just to evaluate it. So yeah.
yeah, and things like AI agents where you
Mm,
can give it actual information, PDFs, historic data,
right.
specific instructions. That can be really helpful too. But understand that all of these models, they will override your instructions if
Yes.
if they're programmed to override the instructions in that area. Like they're probably not going to give you good information about herbal remedies for
Yeah. No.
certain things that we're not allowed to talk about. You it's going to tell you, for example, a pokeberry is always poisonous and extremely dangerous,
Right.
right? So there's going to be information that it's just not going to give you. And I think as adoption takes off, that kind of a restriction is going to take off like crazy.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, Uber was cheap and a great service, and it was good for the drivers and good for the riders until basically they got rid of all of the taxi cabs, and then they're like, we're gonna screw the riders, we're gonna screw the drivers, we're the only game in town, right? And that's AI too. Like in this initial run up phase, it's going to be made extremely convenient, extremely useful, and fairly open, kind of like the internet used to be fairly open.
Right.
And they'll lock it down and stop making it useful once we've all adopted it.
Yep.
Keep that in mind, that AI is actually going to become less and less useful or less and less truthful on meaningful subjects as we go
forward. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be every bit of a tool for propagandists as anything else, and control.
Yep, exactly. Obesity is a preparedness issue.
It is, unfortunately. And we live in America. We have a very bad obesity problem, and I blame a lot of that. Okay, so part of my weight loss journey recently has actually been creatine. We when we cut out red meat, we reduced the amount of naturally occurring creatine in our diets almost entirely.
Mm-hmm.
That creatine is important. It's important for cognitive function, memory. It's important for metabolic function. There's a lot of layers to. Yes.
When you say we, you're talking like the royal we, like as a society,
yes,
right?
As
Not
a society,
like you've gone vegan or whatever.
No.
Right? Okay.
Goodness
right.
no.
Sorry. Continue.
No. So by cutting out red meats, we've lost creatine. So we have to externally supplement this now to get our levels back up to where they should be all the time. If we go back into the 40s and 50s and 60s, we see red meat was a staple to a lot of normal society, right? We don't have that, and because we went lean because of the heart issues. We went to all these lean, healthier options. We got less healthy, and we've been having more issues. Then they started medicating those issues. And then we started, urinating that medicated into the water systems, and that feedbacks into our, it's been this downhill, we're not eating actual food anymore. I mean, the ingredients to McDonald's French fries should not be more than 2 or 3 items, but it is.
Yeah. Potato, tallow, salt.
Exactly. It's like, that should pretty much cover it.
Yeah. Well, and even if it was 3 ingredients, it's potatoes, but they're covered in, glyphosate and atrazine and all the antifungals.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. We're not even counting what they were grown in and what they have, imbue the properties of and are. Yeah.
In the oil, oh, sure, it might be vegetable oil, but how many different types of vegetables, which are actually seeds, which are actually chemically extracted, which, yeah.
So, and so we're going to have an obesity issue because all of that, and going back to my, earlier when I was talking about being overweight, once you get overweight, it's a hard thing to get back to get the energy to get healthy again. That's a friend of mine. He kind of coached me. He's a friend of mine in the Air Force. He told me, he's like, you can't outrun your fork.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. And he was right. And because I was trying to exercise my way into fitness, and I was tearing up all of my joints. And he's
Winnie the Pooh from the 70s had a great take on this. He sings a song that goes, when I up, down, touch the ground, puts me in the mood. When I up, down, touch the ground, in the mood for food, I improve my appetite when I exercise. So back in the 70s, from was it Disney at the time?
I think so.
Anyways, Winnie the Pooh had basically, he said when he exercises, that's how he gets a better appetite. So
That's funny.
yeah.
But yeah, it's to be expected that we're going, as a society, that we're going to be struggling with our weight when what we're eating isn't real food, when we're provided all of the comforts that don't require us to get out and move around. It's this culmination of all of these systems that are really designed to keep us fat, lazy, and happy, or distracted. I want to say happy, distracted.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I've got a hot take on the obesity issue for preparedness. I say it's just food stored on your body.
Oh, it is. I mean, functionally, it is.
Yeah, I mean, you can last so much longer. Just
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. You are going to have stores that will last you for a long time, as long as you can keep up water. Yeah, I think I had that in there. Water stores before food stores for emergency preparedness.
yeah,
that was a hot take.
yeah. Clean, potable water is most important. You can figure out food later.
Yep, and like you said, most of us have some extra.
Yep. Dry fasting is a thing too.
True.
Just saying. You can only do it for so long, but
yeah, that one gets rough.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when our fat is where we store all our toxins and all the stuff that your body's like, get rid of it. It shoves it into the fat cells.
Oh, yes. I had a friend's parents who had done a considerable number of items in the 70s. It was the 70s. And they lost a bunch of weight and they started tripping, like full on tripping. And they couldn't figure out why. It was because all of that was stored in the fats because they had been utilizing those medicines and stored some of that in their systems.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big part of why you get headaches when you fast, is that you're switching your body over to ketone based energy. And when you start burning off fat in the body, you're releasing those toxins, and now your body has to deal with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ketosis is a real thing. Yeah, and that's why drinking water is really important, because you want to flush that out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dry fasts that's an advanced fasting technique.
Well, and it really is more useful after you've already cleaned out a lot of your systems as a maintenance cycle. Absolutely. But to get down to a manageable weight, I don't recommend it, but yeah.
No, dry fasting, so it's a really interesting thing because your body has to start essentially cannibalizing itself at some point. And the point of dry fasting is that it actually, the first thing when you're not taking on water or drinking water that your body will go after is actually your scar tissue. So a lot of people who have scar tissue issues or even arthritic issues can have major benefits because the body eats and gets rid of the scar tissue during a dry fast. And then when you start eating again, there's a whole process. So it's not a like, go do it kind of thing. But when you start eating again and your body rebuilds, it rebuilds with appropriate tissue instead of the scar tissue. So
interesting.
In normal historic times when people would have gone through long, hard periods without a lot of food and water, your body would have actually reset a lot of the things that we're stuck with for life because we never run out of water. We never run out of food.
Interesting. I just heard of for inflammation. I had not the scar tissue. I'll have to look into that. That's interesting.
Yeah. There's a specific name for it that's really technical and probably Latin, and I don't remember it. So, yeah. Well, man, I think we've gotten there. We've covered a lot of these. There's some more of it. I think from a high level, we've gotten a lot of them and hopefully made a few people annoyed.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we haven't succeeded. I was hoping we'd disagree more, but unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
So, do you want to tell people how they can find you, what you do, all that good stuff?
Sure. All right. So I am Jared Wilson. I own Resilient Living. So if you're anywhere in the Middle Tennessee area, between like Cookeville and Chattanooga, right down 111. I'm dead smack dab in the middle between Sparta and Spencer, right on 111, corner Hodges Ferry Road. Little store on the side of the road. I call it my TARDIS because it doesn't look like it's very big, but you walk inside and it's much bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. So I've got guns and ammo. I've got knives and camping gear. I've got books on all of the topics that we cover on all of our live streams and then some. And so, yeah, and I love to solve problems. So if you come in looking for something, I may not have it on the shelf, but I can almost guarantee I can find it. I can find a good a version of whatever it is you're trying to look for. So yeah, just come on in and you can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Rumble. We're on all the things. So anyway.
And you have, you've got direct relationships with some of these manufacturers and things as well.
Yeah.
So if people are looking for a reasonable price, but from somebody who knows what they're doing, go talk to Jared.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know are you familiar with the TV ad? He went to Jared.
The
Jared's
jeweler?
Yeah,
yes.
The jeweler. So I think we should flip that. And it's when wives or girlfriends want to get their husbands or
go to Jared's.
He went to Jared's.
Nice.
Anyways, that's just me being nerdy. Sorry. All right. So
who are you?
I'm Ryan Siva. I'm the homestead consultant. And as the name would suggest, I help consult on homesteads. So I deal with all kinds of projects. Today I was working on putting conduit in for a bunker.
Nice.
For solar to the bunker. I help plan out homesteads, design homesteads, set up systems that make sense for your goals and your property and all your resources, and try to help you avoid some of those big mistakes, because mistakes do equal learning if you use them properly. But if you can avoid some of the big expensive ones, I like helping people with that. And so that's kind of what I do. If you want to find me, thehomesteadconsultant.com, YouTube at The Homestead Consultant is probably my most common or most popular channel. But I'm on TikTok and whatever, I'm on the inner tubes. I don't have a Facebook. You're right. I just have my personal Facebook.
Makes you hard to tag.
Oh yeah. I should probably change that. I hate Facebook and I don't want to.
Oh yeah. Hate it so much.
So, well, thanks everybody for being here and joining us. Yeah. Thank you for all the comments. We appreciate everybody who's watching, listening, and remember that we now have, we have a Apple podcast. So through Apple and a lot of the podcatchers, you can find us. Look for, what is it? The
Resilient Living Podcast.
Yeah. Resilient Living Podcast, specifically put podcast on the end because it pulls up a lot of stuff.
Differentiate between all of the rest of the self-help, mental, whatever.
Yep. So anyways, check that out, because if you want to hear us babble on about things and not have to watch us, that's the best way to do it.
It is.
All right. Well, have a good night, everyone.
See you guys.